Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today it is time to free your mind here on The Sweat presented by Draftkings. I am Dr. Latzia. Welcome to my den. So we will play What's in the Hat. We'll have an NFC East preview. We'll talk about why Jimmy G's returning to the Bay. We'll look back on a PGA Tour season that was, more guys taking off for live, what's cooking in the Rainmakers market. But right now, everybody, come on in. Jared Carabas, take a seat. Relax. It's good to have you here for our weekly segment of The Sweat, of the takeoff here on The Sweat. Now, I want you to allow yourself to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because life isn't meant to be lived alone and miserable. And last week, you tweet this. You tweet, at this point, we're just a therapy podcast. So that had us thinking, we need you to lean on us like a rock right now. So take me back to last week here, Jared.
Yeah, I think you're more specifically, are you talking about the Red Sox getting swept by the Blue Jays?
Exactly. How did that make you feel, Jared?
Made me feel pretty bad because I think I predicted that the Red Sox were going to sweep that series, and then they got swept. It's really hard when Kevin Gausman pitches against the Red Sox in literally every single game. And then they actually scored a few runs off of Gausman, and I was really encouraged by that. I think they scored 4 runs off of him, and then they just ended up losing that game anyway. So,
no, it's okay, because sometimes in life you tend to be more wrong than right. But I don't want you to think that is the path that you are on, because from your viewpoint, what is the problem with the Red Sox, Jared?
Everything. They just kind of suck right now. They've been terrible all year. I think they've gotten really unlucky with injuries for the most part. I think it's been a little bit of bad luck, some injuries, poor roster construction. You've had guys that normally they would perform well that haven't been performing well. So I guess you could say that everything that could go wrong has gone wrong.
Yes.
And it's just been really making me sad, Emerson.
Yeah, in my field, we call that Murphy's Law. Do you feel your connection with the Red Sox has negatively affected other relationships in your life? Please be open and honest.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've distanced myself from my family. I haven't really... Well, I haven't had a girlfriend in probably 6 years, which is roughly around the time that my career started.
Yep.
So
now,
yeah.
You are married to the game.
I'm married to the game, Emerson. It's more the relationship that I have with the job, and I think it's fair to say that the job has really put a lot of negativity in my life this season. And I don't want to scare you or anything. I know that you're supposed to report these things if I say this, but the last time. One of the last times that the Red Sox finished in last place, I almost enlisted in the Marines because I was like, I would rather be in Baghdad than here.
Yeah. How has this impacted your mom doing your laundry?
Not at all. She still does it. It's just, I will say this, that the laundry piles get higher because I'm too sad to leave my house. Usually I have to drive the laundry bags back to Saugus and give them to my mom so she can do my laundry. But, I feel like if you were to go to my apartment right now, you'd see a pretty big, high mound of laundry because I just haven't been able to go outside much.
Yeah, this is, we've got some serious issues here that we are going to work on. But you did say in your podcast that Red Sox brass was not too pleased with GM Chaim Bloom this season. However, last night, team president Sam Kennedy comes out and says Bloom and Cora's jobs are safe next season. How long is the leash for these guys going to be next year?
Let's address something off of that first. I mean, that's pretty cool that the Red Sox listen to my podcast. Like, that's obviously why they had to address it.
Yep.
That's cool. But on the same note, I think Alex Cora, that's his job until he doesn't want it anymore. I don't think that he'll ever be in danger of not managing the team. But a guy like Chaim Bloom, I was concerned that maybe the leash would have been a little bit shorter, that maybe they were just giving him this offseason to see what he can do. And I think, in my opinion, that would have been unfair. I think that that's unfair treatment of Chaim Bloom. I think he deserves a little bit longer of a leash, especially after getting within a couple games of the World Series last year. So yeah, it's good to hear that they're at least committing to him next year, because it's a long view process. What they asked Chaim Bloom to do, they didn't ask him to come in and be Dave Dombrowski and win a World Series in 24 hours. It was kind of a long play, and he's doing the long play. So I'm glad that they're committing to Chaim as well.
Well, Jared, I want you to do a deep dive here. I want you to tell me what positive changes you believe this team needs to make right now. Please get comfortable.
What positive changes that the Red Sox need to make? Is that what you're saying, Emerson?
Yes, it is, Jared.
I think I'd really like Aaron Judge. I saw him hit a home run last night. Now he has 50 on the season, and
Yeah, it's his 50th this season, yep.
yeah, I think he's only like the 7th player ever to hit 50 home runs before the start of September, which is really cool.
Yep.
And I feel like the Red Sox do need an outfielder, and I think that fans are starting to wane in terms of interest in the team. So, something that could make a big splash, but also help you get better. And it's a gigantic leap, no pun intended, in the right direction of building a winner. It would kind of be signing Aaron Judge. And I know that a lot of Red Sox fans are like, oh, boo the Yankees, we don't like the Yankees. But at the end of the day, he's a good baseball player. I mean, how many guys in the Red Sox right now can hit 50 home runs? I don't think that there are any.
So J-Rod's deal. Let's go from one superstar to another here.
Sure.
How does it make you feel? You see Seattle locking up its young stars, while Rafael Devers remains unsigned.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, that wasn't a question, Emerson.
No, how does it make you feel?
How does it make me feel?
Yeah, how does it make you feel Seattle's locking up its young stars? Meanwhile, your GM, your team, is not doing so.
Yeah, no, it makes me feel really sad, if we're being honest. I kind of blame Dave Dombrowski a little bit for that. I feel like if you had approached Devers a little bit sooner, I think we all at the time knew that it was a situation where Devers was going to be a special player. I think we knew that, but they didn't approach him. And now here we are. We're a year away from free agency, and oh man, if the precedent hasn't been set already that he'll probably end up going to free agency and signing somewhere else, or being happy in another organization and living out his prime seasons, winning championships with another team. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but that wouldn't shock me if that were the case. But if you're the Red Sox and you're serious about contending and winning, I mean, I feel like you need to retain some core pieces, because we're probably going to lose JD, we're probably going to lose Nate and Xander and everyone. I mean, if there's one guy that you've got to keep, it's Rafael Devers. But the way things have been going, I think it would be hard to sway things in a more positive direction. So, I mean, that's where I would start, honestly.
You can't ignore Rich Hill turning back the clock. He could be the future of this pitching staff.
The future of the pitching staff? Our best pitcher is 42 years old, Emerson. Our best pitcher is 42 years old.
I'm laughing with you. I'm in pain with you, not at you.
Yeah.
Because I'm your doctor here. You pay me some damn good money.
I mean, insurance covers it. Shout out to Draftkings for that. Yeah, I mean, it's 7 innings and 11 strikeouts, 7 shutout innings. That was awesome. But at the end of the day, Pedro Martinez, he would go out and dominate, and he's a superstar, and he would just live that superstar life. Rich Hill throws 7 shutout innings with 11 strikeouts, and he goes home and probably mows his lawn or something like that, or paints a fence. It's just a little bit different. But Brian Bayo looked okay last night. The Red Sox lost that game, but he did look okay, and I think he's a big part of the future. But outside of that, it's kind of a barren wasteland.
It certainly is, like your insides. So we're not going to let you go without getting your hot take. And I want to remind you once again, this is a safe space on the couch, Jarrett. So please let it out. Do not hold back.
You want a hot take?
I want a hot take. Could be a sad take. Could be a painful take. whatever emotion you are feeling right now, inject that into whatever take you are about to deliver to the people.
Is Billy here?
Billy is here. Billy, please bring
Come
it
here,
in
Billy.
nice and tight for him.
Come here, Billy. Come here. The Red Sox have to make the playoffs next year.
Okay.
And they're going to. And they're going to. They're going to. The Red Sox are going to make the playoffs next year. I don't know how they're going to get there. I don't know what additions they're going to have to make. But Chaim Bloom, he knows that I don't want to say he's under the gun right now, but the pressure's on. The pressure to perform is on. You have one winning off season. You have one losing off season. Now this is the make or break one. And I have confidence in Chaim that it's going to be a make off season. And that means make the playoffs.
Well, as we've discussed earlier, they've got quite a bit of work to do in order to get there. Jared, our time is up. Insurance does not pay for more than 15 minutes on the couch. I hope this has been helpful for you. It has been a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to next week's session, and after the break, why Jimmy G has decided to restructure his contract with the 49ers, plus an NFC East betting preview. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and leaning on us during today's session.
Thank you.
Well, how the turntables. Jimmy Garoppolo staying put in San Francisco, reportedly agreeing to a restructured one-year deal that's going to keep him with the 49ers, okay? It's worth $6.5 million. You know what that means? He's an extremely rich backup quarterback. We already know how handsome he is. Highest paid backup quarterback in the league, might I add. DraftKings contributors Pierce Dietrich and Reed T. Fowler are here on your screen. Before we get into our NFC East preview here, hey, Reed T. Fowler, why do you think Jimmy G agreed to restructure his deal and stick around?
Well, it's probably easier for the team to trade him, right? He's probably not going to get a worthy team because his contract was so high. So when you restructure it, your base is only, I think his base now is only under $500,000, which is much more palatable for teams to acquire him, right? You know, if there's probably 4 or 5 teams that could use his services right now. And it's better for the 49ers as well, right? If something happens with Lance, they have a security blanket, but now they can trade him, right? So it kind of works out for both parties. The one thing that you have to remember about Jimmy G's contract, though, is there's a no trade clause.
Yes.
So he really gets to decide where he wants to go.
Yeah, like I believe if they were going to trade him, like he has to be part of those discussions, right? Like he's got to sign off on that kind of thing. So, Pierce, what, if anything, does this say about the team's confidence level in Trey Lance?
I'm not even there. I'm still just floored by being in a position where you can just throw $15 million away.
Yeah.
He must be getting some real big bucks from those Subway commercials. I understand he wants to play again and he wants to have a little bit more control, but there was still a pretty good possibility that they were just going to have to straight cut him.
Yep.
He was going to be a free agent and that he could have gone somewhere else. Maybe he was a little worried. Maybe, he was getting a little nervous about a situation. But even if he would have played his cards wrong, still was going to get a lot of money as a backup. I don't think anything's changed from San Francisco. They really lucked out here. They are in a really good spot. They've got a backup. Maybe they can use. They can probably trade him. It really hasn't changed the whole Trey Lance situation. We knew he was going to start. He's going to start. It really worked out well for Lance. Worked out well for the 49ers. I think Jimmy G is on the short end of the stick here.
Yeah.
Well, Pierce, I think he's going to live. That's why he turned down the 15 mil. So I think he's got live in his back pocket.
Seems like everyone else is going to live these days, Reed T. Fowler. What's interesting, though, too, is it was a couple days ago, right, where, like, reports were surfing that, like, the Seahawks were incredibly interested in Jimmy G. There was no way in hell the 49ers would do that, right, Reed?
Well, at the right price.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, the last thing you want to do is trade your quarterback in division. It's different if it's a defensive player, a wide receiver, running back. It's the quarterback. He knows all of your plays, right? So, I mean, the Steelers, I would argue the Broncos could use a backup, right? If Russell Wilson goes down. There's a lot of teams out there right now. The Saints are another team that if something happens to Jameis Winston, it's the Taysom Hill experience yet again. So there's a ton of teams that could use Jimmy Garoppolo's services, and he's probably going to get paid. Look, Ryan Tannehill, after he went down, right, he got that massive contract after starting with the Tennessee Titans, and we've seen this before, even going back to Sam Bradford and these other guys, that these guys in-season quarterbacks can get paid a lot of money, and Jimmy G is probably the best backup quarterback that there is.
And did you see the video, too? Pete Carroll now playing quarterback for him, like in practice. That's how bad it is right now in Seattle.
It's like, why can't you have 14 quarterbacks, Pete? Like, you're too old already. Stop playing. Stop pretending, Pete.
Pierce Dietrich, who's more injury prone, Pete Carroll or Jimmy G?
The thing with Pete Carroll, he won't let his quarterbacks pass, but during his highlight video, it's nothing but him passing. If that's a true Seattle offense, it should have been just Pete Carroll doing handoffs left and right.
Well, exactly. You know what's crazy is those were goal line drills. They were on the goal line when he was dropping back and throwing. He wasn't handing off on the 1 yard line.
It's so staged. He's scanning left to right, looking all over the place. Come on.
I see one game on San Fran's schedule against the NFC East team. So that's going to be Washington on Christmas Eve. So it's a division here on the rise. Pierce Dietrich with the bottom teams catching up to Dallas at the top a little bit. Who would you say the top DFS player is in the NFC East?
It's Jalen Hurts. It's not even close, and I'm surprised to admit this. Earlier in the offseason, I was not a believer, but, I hadn't really done my homework. I'd watch the games and see him make mistakes and the team lose games. I didn't really look deep into the analytics, but there was the hype train forming this offseason, so I looked into it, and his numbers looked really good, and he is getting better, and now he is surrounded by a really good team. He's got receivers, pass catchers, tight ends, the best offensive line in football. And his running backs aren't really that great. He's probably the best running back. So he's got all the weapons. He's got the protection, and he's going to get plenty of mobile yardage. I think the Giants are interesting, and they're going to be fun plays in DFS. But when we look at the end of the season, it's going to be Jalen Hurts with the most fantasy points.
Yeah, he's got A.J. Brown now with him. There's Dak. There's Lamb, Reed T. Fowler. Let's not forget Saquon Barkley. What direction you want to go in here?
Yeah, we could see Eagles 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And both of those offenses, right, those teams are pretty evenly matched. I mean, the coaching goes towards Shanahan 49ers over Sirianni. But I'm with Pierce here with Jalen Hurts. But I guess I'm taking over Pierce's role and trying to go a little obscure with my guys in this category, in this question. How about Zeke Elliott? Like, talking about best DFS play, sure. From a talent perspective, it's Jalen Hurts. It's CeeDee Lamb. You can go there. But DFS is different. You got to play a little game theory. The sentiment on Zeke is extremely low because everyone's doing their season-long fantasy drafts this weekend, last weekend. And Zeke is like an RB2. Tony Pollard is going to be that starting running back. That's all you've been hearing. But Zeke still is that guy. Jerry Jones runs that team. Mike McCarthy is a puppeteer. Like, he's not going to do anything that Jerry Jones doesn't say. And Jones keeps on going on his radio shows and saying, Zeke, we go where Zeke goes. So, like, I get it. Lamb, Pollard, Zeke, Schultz, that's the team. So if you give me that RB2, if he's $5,000 on a slate and he's that guy, give me Zeke.
Okay, well, I'm glad you guys brought up the Cowboys and Eagles here, because as we look at division odds, they're both at plus 150 right now on the DK Sportsbook. Who you got, Reed?
Yeah, hard to go against the Eagles. And look what they did on defense. Not just A.J. Brown and you know, what they acquired with him as an alpha wide receiver, but Kazir White. You know, they got James Bradbury, Hassan Reddick. They went and got Jordan Davis, my favorite prospect on the defense in the draft, and you know, Nakobe Dean really late. So give me the Eagles. Their defense is really strong yet again.
Okay, Pierce, my guess is you're going in the same direction, especially after those offensive line issues right now and the injuries for the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we just look at this moment, the Eagles are headed in the right direction. And not that the Cowboys are really falling back, but they don't have everything going for them. The offensive line is not really working out. We already know that they have wide receiver issues to open the season. Dallas, on paper, had a much better defense that was aided by the number 2 pass DVOA, but that was heavily influenced by turnovers. It's reasonable to expect some regression to the mean, get less turnovers, and that defense will take a step down. And as Reed mentioned, Philadelphia made a lot of additions on the defensive side, not just the offensive side. They've got the duo of a first-round and third-round pick coming from Georgia. That could be an interesting chemistry that plays in along with the other free agents. And that defense wasn't really that bad to begin with. The Eagles are just, I think they're everyone's darling, and so they could, you know, be a big disappointment. A lot of it's going to hinge on Jalen Hurts' play, but I'm expecting a big season from him. There's really no excuse why they won't be able to perform. If maybe, you know, the running backs could do better, but they have such a good line that it doesn't matter. They're going to get away with that. I think there's reasons to be optimistic for the Giants, but they're just not on the level of the Cowboys or the Eagles. And Washington's basically the quintessential 500 team. They're not going to win this division.
Yeah, it's like the bottom teams again catching up to Dallas, but Dallas really not doing enough to raise its own ceiling. So it sounds like, you know, according to both you guys, that trend of no team winning the division in consecutive years since 2003, 2004 likely to continue for another year. Pierce, favorite team win total in the division is what and why?
Yeah, well, full disclosure, I do not really like betting this division because they are so close, and we are kind of going out on a limb saying that the Eagles are going to run away with this division, and you know, maybe we're discounting the Cowboys too soon, but I'll take Washington over 8 wins. I would love for this to be 6.5 or 7.5, but the Draftkings Sportsbook has done a really good job of putting this number up, and Washington has a good defense. Now, they didn't always show it last season because they're dealing with injuries. They had a handful of COVID issues, but they're a well-coached team. They have the defense to compete. The division is not that far apart. Yes, the Eagles and the Cowboys are the better teams, but the difference between the top and the bottom is not that high. Wentz isn't a great quarterback, but we're not asking for him to be great. We just need him to go out and be a game manager. And in a game manager role, he can be an elite game manager with a conservative approach and a good defense behind him. I think that they can get over this hump. Again, I would like for it to be 7.5, but I'll take Washington over 8.
Okay, we all know it's a week 1 loss against Jacksonville at home, but Reed, easiest schedule here the Commanders have in the NFL when it comes to opponents' combined win percentage from last year. But that doesn't guarantee us anything, does it?
No, like the elite game manager is like up-to-date updates. I gotta know what to think of that. No, like I get what you're saying about defense, but I'm gonna stay away from that because Carson Wentz is a turnover machine, right? And then if it's not him, it's Taylor Heineke. So that scares me quite a bit. But I'm actually going with the Giants. I think everybody loves the Giants, right? If Jeff was on this, he'd be like Saquon's, you know, quads, Kadarius Toney's routes, and like he just goes into the hype. Everyone's believing in Brian Dable, and I love Dable. I love that signing, but under 7 wins at -110 right now on the DK Sportsbook for the Giants. I just don't believe the hype just yet. 4-6, 4-5, 3 was their win total in the last 5 years. I don't think you can turn that around in 1 year, and it's still Daniel Jones, right? That Tyrod Taylor is back there. If he starts early, that scares me on the under, but give me under 7, -110 for the Giants.
Giants haven't won 7 games in one season since 2016. Okay.
The Reagan administration.
Yeah,
Bill Sims.
It feels like it, man. All right, Reed, favorite player future in the division. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb over 1,175. I think it's 1,200 now. I think it actually increased last time I saw this, but I had this way back about a month ago or a few weeks ago at -120. There are a few options in Dallas right now, especially at the wide receiver core. 25% target per route run last season. That's only going to increase this year, on pace for 112 targets if he played an entire season, right? He missed a few games. So, like, it's just massive, right? He gets 140 targets this year. That's he's got a 9.2 yards per target last season. The math is there, so give me CeeDee Lamb.
All right, what's your top future bet here to target, Pierce?
Same team, different direction. Dak Prescott under 4,350 yards. He sailed over this number in 2019, but that was a bad Dallas team that was constantly in shootouts. That Dallas team also had a good line and weapons all around Dak. Last season, we saw that number drop down as they've become a better, more well-rounded team, more conservative in their approach, not necessarily winging it, and also because they didn't have to. The defense played well, so they didn't have to constantly get into shootouts and force the ball downfield. Well, now you've got line issues already beginning again. We saw in 2020 when they had line issues. Dak missed a handful of games. More than a handful of games. That would make this an easy winner, but they also have wide receiver issues. I'm not saying CeeDee Lamb can't have a good year. If anybody's going to stand out and have a big season, it will be CeeDee Lamb. He's probably going to benefit from all these injuries and a depleted wide receiver core. But overall, as Reed mentioned earlier, this could be a Zeke season. And if I'm Dallas going into the season with the situation being what it is, I'm going to play defense and run the ball, and that just doesn't bode well for the passing yards for Dak Prescott.
All right, gentlemen, you two are free to go. Well done. We're going to play What's in the Hat with Steve and Garion right after this quick break. All right, everybody, a Tuesday tradition unlike any other. What's in the hat? We have the rules here. Let's remind all of you and ourselves for sure how this works. We pick a name out of the hat, you two, Steve Buchanan, Garion Thorne, put them into one of four categories for the night: 20 plus fantasy points, 10 plus, 5 plus 0. You guys each have a pass. You can pass once and then force the other analyst to throw whatever player comes out of the hat into one of those categories. So last week's results, here we go. Oh. Garion, yeah, I know you know Garion. Gare Bear took 3 of his 4 categories. Steve only hit on 1. Ooh, Mr. Kirk in the 20 plus category was tough. But wait, wasn't that like, you were forced to do that, right? It was your last category, and you're like, this is not going to work out, so you kind of expected that, right?
Yeah, see, like the scoreboard also needs like context. Like you look at the scoreboard,
Yes.
You think I'm a total idiot, right? So that's part of the thing. It's like it needs some context too. So I was forcibly put him in the 20.
All right, let's start this week. Here we go. Gare Bear, you're going to go up first since you're clearly dominating this game. Here we go. It's Steve's boy, Rafael Devers. What you want?
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is a tough one. I think I'm going to put him in 0.
What? Wow.
Yeah. I think I'm going to put him in the 0 DraftKings point category. And it's certainly not because I have all that much faith in Chris Archer. I'll say that. Although I think Archer's been a little bit better than maybe people would have expected so far this season. But Rafael Devers has not been the same since the All-Star break. I mean, obviously he got banged up in that initial series against the Blue Jays at Fenway Park. Had to go on the 10-day IL. And you watch him now, he's still limping his way down to first base on like a clear double. He's not right. And again, since the All-Star break, a 559 OPS, a 43 WRC plus. So I'm not putting real Rafael Devers in the 0 DraftKings point category. I'm putting whatever injured, weird version we're currently getting of Rafael Devers in the 0 DraftKings point category.
See what I mean? This game needs context. He's putting fake Rafael Devers in the zero spot. Like that needs to be known for the people. We need to know that.
Okay, well, producer Slates will be on top of that next week. You sound extremely surprised that he's going in that direction. So Kyle Tucker here. Kyle Tucker's Mr. Buchanan. Which category are you going in, or are you going to pass?
I'll put him in the 10 spot here tonight going up against Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning really struggles against left-handed bats. Obviously, that's what Kyle Tucker is. And Tucker's been raking in the month of August, putting up some of his best overall numbers all season long during this month. And he's obviously a base-stealing threat as well, so that could be a quick way to grab some fantasy points there too as well. But I think this is a really nice spot for Tucker here tonight against the Rangers and Dane Dunning. So yeah, let me put him in the 10 spot here tonight.
Ooh, all right. Up next, bring it on over, Billy. All right, Eric Fetty, Care Bear, right? Is that how you say it? That's how you say his name, right?
Yep, Fetty.
Okay, nailed it.
Old Fetty Wap. I'm going to put him in the 10 DraftKings point category. Eric Fetty's not great. I think we should really just make that clear off the top. But neither are the Oakland Athletics, who have, just struggled all season long with their offense. In the last 14 days, they're hitting 218 as a team with a 117 ISO. So Fetty came off the IL in his last start, made his first start at the MLB level in over a month, threw 5 innings, 2 earned runs. He was perfectly fine. He's allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 5 of his last 7 starts. This guy's like a really good 5th starter. That's kind of who Eric Fetty is. But against the Oakland Athletics, that's enough to kind of be viable tonight. I mean, he's only $5,700 on the main slate. So I don't think he's going to get 20 DraftKings points, but could he have 3x value and come back with 16 or 17? I think there's a pretty decent chance against this Oakland lineup.
Bukes, the man you will be putting into a category or passing, Freddie Freeman. Ooh.
I mean, I can't put him at 20, so I'll put him in 5. This is a great spot here tonight against Taiwan Walker, who is looking like the Walker we've come to know for the last couple of years, really struggling in the second half of the season thus far. Right when Scherzer and DeGrom comes back, Walker doesn't want to, carry this rotation anymore. Second half, 25 2/3 innings, 6.31 ERA over that span, 18 earned runs allowed, 6 home runs, and a 324 WOBA against. Obviously Freeman hasn't been hitting for the home run power that we, have come to know him for, but that's what happens when you move to LA, but still hitting a ton of doubles. I think he's in the top 10 in doubles in the league right now. So I would say this is a good spot for him, maybe not getting to that 22. This would be a great spot for him to be in the 10 spot. Let's put it that way, but I'm not going to put him in 0, not going to put him in 20. So by default, that puts him in the 5 spot, but I think he does better than that here tonight in a good matchup against Walker.
Okay, so Gare Bear, you have 0 points, you have 10 points covered, so you have 5 points and 20 points, those 2 categories remaining. You also have your pass here, bud, Cole Irvin. Ooh, oh man. With the
what? I'm going to stick with Cole Irvin. I'm going to put him in the 20 DraftKings point category.
Ooh.
Irving, not necessarily a guy who you think of as like a huge DFS asset. He's been really good, like surface stats wise, his last 10 starts, really for the entirety of the season. He's got a 2.69 ERA since the beginning of July, holding opponents to a 193 batting average in that span of time. But the strikeout rate is well below average, even when you include the fact he had 11 strikeouts in his most recent start. So I'm hoping a little bit of that carries over tonight against the Nationals, who have just been bad. I mean, this is really a entire game of bad offenses and kind of underwhelming pitchers who should be all right as DFS assets tonight. So I think Cole Irvin can not surprise people because it's Washington, but I think he could really come back with one of his better DFS outings of the season.
All right, here we go. Up next, Bukes, you've got yourself
Max Fried.
Rowdy Howdy, baby. Howdy. Yeah, go ahead with Rowdy.
All right, what's Garion have left? What
All right,
categories
so
does he have left?
Gare Bear only has 5 points left. Then that's his only category. What do you want to do here, dude? This is risky, man. You got to risk it for the biscuit, if you know what I mean.
Garion's good at this game. All right, I'm going to put Rowdy in the 0 spot.
Okay.
Going up against Mitch Keller. It's a good matchup against Mitch Keller. Don't get me wrong. 350 WARBA against lefties. Doesn't give up a ton of home runs, and that's kind of the boomer bust player that Rowdy Tellez is here. You know, not great numbers overall, but still hitting for a ton of power. In this matchup, obviously against the righty like with Keller here. So I'm just going to go on a limb here and just say that maybe Tellez goes 0 for 4 here tonight. Decent matchup, but like I said, Keller does do a decent job at keeping the ball in the park, so we'll put Rowdy in the 0 spot.
All right,
This is actually like a sneaky good play for Bukes because Rowdy Tellez left yesterday's game with a knee injury, so there's a pretty decent chance he might not even play tonight, thus guaranteeing 0 DraftKings points.
All right, so that means okay. So Steve, then you still have the 20 points department, and Gare Bear. You're in a great spot here because if this is someone who sucks, you can obviously use your 1 pass. Matt Olson. No, he's
I'm
pretty
going to keep
decent.
Matt Olson.
Yeah,
I think Matt Olson pretty locked into scoring 5 DraftKings points tonight against Jose Urena, who has been awful. 6.35 ERA as a starter. Even when you take this guy out of Coors Field, just really bad. A 400 WOBA to left-handed batters. Matt Olson, one of the better left-handed batters in the National League, has really been hitting for power since the All-Star break. He's got 10 home runs. That's a 274 isolated power. So obviously a home run would be a lot more than 5 DraftKings points, but he's going to get over that pretty low floor pretty easily tonight.
All right, Bukes. Last one here.
I keep doing this to myself. I keep doing this to myself. I got to play this game better.
You have to win, and you'll go first next week, and then you automatically have an advantage. I don't know automatically, but there's a pretty good chance because Garion's had an advantage over you the past few weeks.
If you give me Luis Ariz, I'm walking off.
I swear to you, you saw me just pick it, dude. No. Oh, no, get back here.
I'm really tired of this game. This game is really getting annoying.
No.
And I made this game up. It's really annoying.
I know. You have to look in the mirror. You have to look in the mirror. This is on you, Big Daddy. This is on you. You're the pathetic human being.
Luis Ariz could be one of like the cheapest batting average champs in the American League has had. He's got a 320 batting average, but his expecting batting average is like 285. Guy has no power, and now I'm forced to put him in the 20 spot. I'm getting really tired of this game. Next week, we can put up your Bukes. That was a good game. Let's do put up your Bukes next week. I'm really getting sick of this one.
Sorry, dude.
We'll put stupid Luis Ariz in the 20 spot, and once again, it looks out of context. Like, why would Steve do such a thing? The guy has no home runs. He's got to go like 5 for 5. Don't put that up there. He's got to go like 5 for 5 to have any chance to go 20 DraftKings fantasy points. Stupid.
Peter Crawford's real bad. I mean, there's a chance.
When does football start? I need football.
It starts next week, Steve. The season kicks off next Thursday.
Thank God. Tired of this crap.
Garrett. So wait, because Garion won the first go around of this, right? Like 2 weeks ago. So Garion.
I think Steve won the first one. I've won the last 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Garion, you're really starting to nail this down. Like you have a strategy. And I'm impressed that you have you're playing mind games. Like you're watching Netflix
notes. I mean, it's incredible. I'm really taking this seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Slate's got my ear and said the strategy is just let Bukes beat himself.
No, I'm my own worst enemy.
You certainly are, man.
2 people want to beat me up right now. Myself and Tampa Bay Rays fans. I got a lot of enemies.
Oh, yeah, that was bad yesterday. You were on MLB Network, right? And you said
that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
All 7 of those Rays fans are going to come together and find you, Steve.
They found me. You should see my mentions. They found me. They're very upset.
It's the whole fan base, bro. 7 or nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Just watch out, bro. It's quality, not quantity. You guys are awesome. Let's see what's cooking in the land of Rainmakers after this extremely special commercial break.
Lamar, Zeke, Stephon, you've all been summoned to the Kevin verse.
You gotta be kidding me.
You're here because you're on my DraftKings Rainmakers fantasy team.
I liked him better when he was tiny.
Lamar, keep talking and I'll put you on a tiny bench. I've collected your digital player cards, and you're gonna help me build my NFT fantasy franchise so I can start crushing the competition. I need you all at 100%. Zeke, you're gonna catch a cold in that crop top. Maybe you should consider putting your belly button away. Hey, Lamar, you getting enough sleep? I seen you posting pictures in the club.
You stalking me?
Diggs, you gotta keep your hands moist so they stay soft. Nice and moist.
Please stop saying moist. We done here, man.
Well, go ahead. There's the exit. Ha!
Build a roster by opening packs and joining drops and win a share of over $1 million in prizes every week of the NFL season. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app to get your free full roster starter pack. DraftKings Rainmakers Football. Build, play, win.
Man, that's the good stuff right there. But wait, there's more. DraftKings content manager Shirag Hira in studio. Let's go ahead and poke over to that DraftKings Marketplace here, dude. Yep. So free pack, right? A free pack gets you into the game.
That's correct.
But what else do people need to know that will make them successful here? You know everything. This is why I'm asking you that question.
I'm trying. So I would start off with 3 packs in the marketplace. First off, you want to start off with the Superstar Pack. The reason why you want to consider getting this Superstar Pack is because you are guaranteed a top player in the core tier. So guaranteed, you can only have 1 superstar per lineup. So this is extremely important to consider getting this pack. It's only $10, and that's where I would start. Next would move to the booster pack. The reason why we go with the booster pack is that it gives you more cards. There is a 50% chance to hit a rare card in the booster pack as well. It's only $20. You can flip that rare to continue the funds in your account, or hold it to play better lineups. Next, I would move to the Elevate Core Packs. The reason why you want to consider this Elevate Core Packs is because there's 1 rare or elite guaranteed and 2 core QB1 skill starter player cards in this pack. That starts you off with 3 packs, giving you a maximum sweat. So you open these packs, and that's only $40 for the Elevate Core Pack. When you have these 3 packs put together with the free starter pack, that gives you 15 cards to really build out a lineup and play around with it. From there, it really depends on the cards that came in your lineup and then the secondary marketplace plays you make on how you build your franchise.
All right, so again, we're talking latest drops, contests, transactions happening on the DK Digital collectible market here, Shirag. And in addition to the packs, like there's also an active secondary market. So what kind of sales have we seen go down recently?
Well, the one that I mentioned last week that I wanted to consider looking at Stephon Diggs. The reason you want to consider looking at Stephon Diggs is because he's in that first Thursday night showdown contest. He's not a superstar, so you can stack him with Josh Allen. As you can see here, he passed Cooper Kupp for a second. Now the floor price is down back to 30. The difference in the price right here, 30.75. But earlier this week, Stephon Diggs had passed Cooper Kupp as the most expensive, second most expensive wide receiver in this tier. That's also very important because Cooper Kupp, as we mentioned, there's some big plays happening. Cooper Kupp's Rainmakers card went for $25,000.
Whoa.
This past week. Other players lining up the top 5 of the most expensive sales: Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, and Patrick Mahomes. All 3 players had NFTs that went for over $10,000.
Well, it's funny, you've already mentioned Diggs, you mentioned Kupp, and those 2 will meet next week on Thursday Night Football.
Yep,
you know what I mean? So contests are going to be starting up for week 1 of the NFL season. What kind of special prizes can you win by playing these contests? Please tell me.
There is a special contest coming to the DraftKings lobby. It will be right here for everyone to check out. And there are special player card NFTs. It starts with the Thursday Night Showdown. Tom Brady, his player card NFT will be available to win in the contest. Then moving forward with the classic slate, we'll see Keenan Allen, we'll see Javonte Williams, and we'll see other players in here so that you can have the opportunity to win. But Sunday Night Showdown, Russell Wilson will be available to be won, and then Austin Eckler for Monday Night Football.
All right, what kind of content do we have going on this week surrounding DraftKings Rainmakers? I hear it's fire.
Yeah, so the DraftKings YouTube is an amazing resource to look at when looking for Rainmakers content. The Discord community team puts together these watch parties with the users, and that happens on Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. But also, collectibles expert Chris Costa comes on the other days, and he talks about and breaks packs with users. He had Matt Kalish and also community user on. They checked out this pack break, and he ended up pulling a Deebo Samuel legendary card. Check out this clip from Wiley to show you how they broke that pack.
All right, let's go to one. Now this one should be okay, right?
I think that's the best card. Let's see.
Deebo Samuel.
Deebo, baby.
There you go. There
Let's
you
go.
go. So we got
Wow,
some money back.
Deebo. Wow. Legendary Deebo.
So that is the second best card in this pack. We're gonna go big here.
That might be the best. I don't know.
No.
Oh,
That's all right.
Justin Fields.
I'll take a Justin Fields.
So this is where you can find all the content you need to know. The DraftKings YouTube provides the opportunity for pops and drops with Kalish and Gary V, but then also other educational material where you can find for DraftKings Rainmakers if you need. But lastly, go to the DK Nation page. You can go to DK Nation, get the new packs and drops. But the ones we need to tell you about that we're going to have are those special card player NFTs that are coming in the lobby. So make sure to check out DK Nation to make sure to get all the content and resources you need.
All right, Sherrod, good stuff, man. Always enjoy having you in studio because you smell really good as well. We are looking back, coming up on the PGA Tour season that was with Jason Sobel right after this break, our final one of the show. All right, folks, it has been a dramatic season in the world of golf. The Action Network's Jason Sobel, he is here for a PGA Tour season review. Before we do that, I mean, actually, this was a big part of the PGA Tour season. 6 more golfers making their way to LIV today, the biggest being Cam Smith, right? Cam Smith, world number 2. On Twitter, was following you this morning here, Jay. You said it's really not the PGA Tour or LIV. It's not about like who wins or loses there. You say it's the golf fan. So why is that?
Yeah, so Emerson, look, this is the biggest story of the entire year. It's not even close in golf, and this is the most disruption that we've ever seen in the game in one period. And so I know a lot of people out there like, I'm pro PGA Tour, love the PGA Tour, I'm going to keep watching PGA Tour events. These guys who leave, they're dead to me. Other people say, hey, I like the fact that LIV is only 54 holes. I like the shotgun start. Dude, you're allowed to like whichever one that you want to like. And look, the players are certainly winners here on the fact that everyone's getting paid more. The LIV players are getting paid a lot. The players who stay on the PGA Tour, well, they just announced last week that with all these elevated events, they're going to be getting paid a lot more. The loser here, I think, is the fans. I've had people arguing with me on social media throughout the morning that there's no dilution. I like the fact that there's different events and different tours, and we can watch them all at different times. I guess so, but I see it, Emerson, as the fact that the product is diluted at the top. We watch sports to watch the best players play against each other on a regular basis. We're not going to have that in golf for at least the next few years, if not for a long time coming. I think that's a bad thing for the game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this continues to develop as LIV is going to grow. I know LIV is in our backyard of Boston this week, but I do want to take a sportsbook look at kind of what we just saw, what went down the PGA Tour season, including the Tour Championship. Like Rory Mcilroy entered Sunday behind Scotty Scheffler, 6 strokes back. But Jason, at one point, he was 10 strokes back of Scotty Scheffler. So heading into Saturday's round 3 here on your screen, you can see he was plus 5,000 to win. Like, it capped an impressive year for McIlroy. Some say he even saved golf, Jason. What impressed you the most about Rory's season?
I'm trying to remember, Emerson. Did somebody pick him on the show last week?
It was
maybe,
you.
Maybe. Oh,
yeah.
I knew it was somebody. I wasn't sure who it was.
My man.
Okay, in any case, Yeah, we finally got one at the end of the year. But that said, look, it was a combination of everything. So look, Rory Mcilroy played some of the best golf of his life this year, had a few wins, top 10 in all the major championships. But the fact that he was doing this while trying to save golf is a little bit too much of a superlative there, but he was very involved in what the tour was doing and decision making and that process moving forward. I almost thought, to the extent where before the tour championship last week, I almost wanted to pull back that pick a little bit just because I didn't know if he was going to be able to focus on golf outside of everything else he was doing. So I think the most impressive part of his year is the fact that he was able to not only sort of be the vocal leader of the game and be able to be the biggest protector and defender of what the PGA Tour means, and also play great golf on a regular basis. So combining those two things, that's not easy whatsoever. Rory was able to do that, and that's what was so impressive.
Man, so cool, calm, and collected. And you're just like, I know there's much more like cooking between the ears than what's going on the course. It's already the biggest mental sport out there, and he's trying to like save the game, put the game on his back, man. Well, the most bet on golfer here by handle, Jason, and bets was world number one Scotty Scheffler, like throughout the season. So Rory took down the FedEx Cup. But Scotty, do you have the most impressive season in your mind? Is he the world number one? Is he player of the year? Does he deserve all that?
Yes, and yes.
Great.
The easy answer to that. Rory McIlroy said it afterwards. He sat down in his press conference and said, by the way, guys, don't make this into a controversy. Player of the year is Scotty Scheffler.
I mean,
Won
Rory,
4 times,
Jason,
including a major championship.
Rory,
Yes.
Rory was apologizing to Scotty's parents afterwards.
I know. How good was that? Rory's the best.
He is,
And
man.
I do
He's a
love the fact
classy
that
dude.
Scotty played great golf throughout the year. I think, though, the fact that the bettors were on Scotty more so than any other player, I think that tells us more about us than about Scotty Scheffler. And it tells us there's a recency bias in golf that maybe doesn't sort of show itself in other sports. In other sports, if you watch a football team lose 2 weeks in a row, all of a sudden you're like, law of averages states, I know they're not playing well, but they're going to win at some point. In golf, everyone likes playing the hot hand, so I think that speaks volumes about us as bettors more so than Scotty Scheffler himself.
All right, well, this is an important one. I mean, Cam Smith was the guy who won the people the most money this year. As we mentioned earlier, he's off to live now, but the Aussie collecting victories at the Century Tournament Champions, the Players, the Open. Did he win people the most money because he was maybe the most undervalued golfer?
I don't know if he was necessarily undervalued, but winning 3 big events against 3 big fields, that's going to do it on a yearly basis. I mean, there aren't that many other players who can say they won that much. I believe 9 players won multiple events this season. That's more than we've had in an awful long time. But winning in 3 big-time fields, I mean, you look at the Players' Championship, everybody was there. I'm trying to remember, somewhere in the 35 to 40 to 1 range, I think, at the Players, and maybe a little bit shorter than that at the Open Championship. But when you're able to triumph in fields like that, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Is, you know, essentially, if you win those 3 events, you play better golf than most of the other players during the year, you're going to win people more money throughout the year. So, look, I don't know that I'd say Cam was undervalued, but congratulations to you if you want him at those 3 events.
Yeah, I don't know if Tiger Woods won people like a whole lot of money, but I can tell you one of the best stories of the year. I don't think there's any debating that. He did return to play at the Masters. He was the most bet on golfer in any single tournament this season.
Ridiculous. Come on.
Dude, I don't get it. Like, I don't think there was a single analyst here, yourself included, on our air who said, like, you know, really bet this guy. Everyone's kind of like, I don't know, maybe like stay away. Does that stand out to you, though, as the best moment of the season? I know it was like the most bet on, but just his return to golf.
His return to golf was great. I would almost go, if I'm just boiling it down to one Tiger moment, it's probably walking across the Swilken Bridge.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
I love the fact that after making the cut in the Masters, after finishing all 4 rounds, I watched him. I was right off the 18th green, watched him walk up the green, and I'm telling you, that limp was maybe more pronounced walking off the golf course Sunday afternoon at Augusta than it had been the entire 4 days of playing. And then he was asked a few minutes later, hey, are you going to play the PGA Championship next month? I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out. U.S. Open? I don't know. That's down the road. Open Championship? Yes, I'll be there. The fact that Tiger understood, and he's a historical golf nerd and loves this stuff, and I mean that in the best way, but he loves the fact that it was the 150th Open, perhaps the most momentous and historic tournament that we'll ever see in our lifetimes. And going there for the anniversary at the old course, the home of golf, the fact that he needed to be there, he needed to play, and then Friday afternoon, walking across the Swilken Bridge. It wasn't a farewell. He didn't stop and wave, but the fact that he did make that exit there on a Friday afternoon, that, to me, if we're just picking one moment, yeah, the Masters was great. Watched him for 4 days, but one moment, at least for Tiger, it was the Swilken Bridge walk on Friday.
And now he and Rory forming their own sports media and technology company. The guy just, I'm going to do it all before I cross the Rainbow Bridge. All right, finally, our underdog story of the year. Hudson Swafford, dude, taking down the American Express back in January at plus 25,000 odds. His odds got as high as plus 800,000. Is that right? What? He beat out favorites like Scotty Scheffler and Cantlay and John Rahm. Like, were you on this dude back then?
8 plus 80,000? 800,000? Too many zeros for me to comprehend.
Yeah, me too. Listen, he was a wicked long shot at one point.
He was a big-time long shot. Trust me. No, I did not hit any long shots that were that big this year. I wish I had. Can't believe I wasn't on Hudson Swafford back at the American Express. He's now going to play Live. So I guess he didn't bet on himself. He would have made enough money that he wouldn't have had to go to that other tour. But, again, congratulations. If you're on Hudson Swafford or out in the desert in Palm Springs, you cleaned up this year.
All right, dude. I think that's all the time we have. What? PGA Tour season starts in like a week and a half or 2 weeks, doesn't it?
2 weeks.
Crazy.
Back in 2 weeks. Let's get back to it.
That's right. All right. So enjoy your break from us here. Very quick one. We'll have you back here in a couple weeks, I guess. That's not my call. It's on the producers. But Jay, good stuff this season, man. We had a fun time with you. Looking forward to next year. That's a show, everybody. Jesse and I back here in studio tomorrow morning, a Hump Day edition of The Sweat, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. We will see you then.